Hello, and welcome. I am your Hotel AI expert, and I'm pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating, the pre-opening playbook. We're going to get a real behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to launch a world-class hotel. So, let's jump right in.
So here's the big question, right? How do you take a construction site, all dust, noise, and chaos, and transform it into a 5-star guest experience? It's an incredible journey from hard hats and blueprints to polished marble and, that perfect seamless service. We're going to explore exactly how that transformation happens, and we're going to focus on the one person who's absolutely critical to making it all work.
Okay, so we call this the pre-opening crucible for a reason. It's this intense, high-pressure environment where you've got all these different groups, the owners, the brand managers, the construction teams, all trying to work together. And here's the tricky part. Even though they're all aiming for the same goal, a successful hotel, their day-to-day priorities, well, they can, and believe me, they do clash. So, how do you navigate this? Well, success really boils down to one absolutely critical skill: stakeholder management. You can think of it as part diplomacy, part translation. It's really the art of being that operational voice, of liaising with all these groups to keep the whole complex machine running smoothly. Without it, everything just grinds to a halt. All right, so who is this operational linchpin? Who's the person at the very center of it all? Well, in this story, our hero is the front office manager. You'll often hear them called the FOM, and their role is just indispensable. You see, the FOM is the operational voice of the future hotel, and I mean that literally. Long before a single guest even thinks about making a reservation, the front office manager is right there, on the construction site. They're the ones who have to think about the staff they're about to hire, the guests they're going to welcome, and their perspective is what turns a building into a functional, welcoming hotel. They are, without a doubt, the linchpin. So, how do they do it? How does one person manage this incredible balancing act? Well, they're essentially managing relationships on 3 different fronts. They're constantly juggling these key groups of stakeholders, and each one has a totally different focus, different priorities, and they even speak a different language. And this table? It just lays it out so perfectly. You've got the owners, right? They're all about return on investment. They speak the language of finance. Then there's corporate, or the brand. Their concern is brand integrity. They speak in terms of brand standards. And finally, you have the project team. They're focused on one thing: getting the building done. Their language is purely technical. The amazing thing about the front office manager is that they have to be fluent in all 3. All right, let's start with the owners. Their primary concern is simple: return on investment. They're looking at the CapEx budget, and they want to know their money is being spent wisely. So the FOM's role here is to provide total financial transparency. They have to show the owners that yes, this investment is going to translate directly into 5-star service, and more importantly, immediate revenue from the second those doors open. Next up, corporate and brand management. For them, it's all about one thing: brand integrity. The hotel has to look, feel, and operate exactly like every other property under that brand, so the FOM has to make sure everything is compliant with the brand's SOPs, or standard operating procedures. And a huge part of this is managing the property management system, the PMS. That's the digital brain of the hotel, and it has to integrate perfectly with all the central corporate systems. That is a major task.
And stakeholder number 3, the project and construction team. Their world is all about technical specs and hitting that handover deadline. Now, this is where you often see some real friction. Why? Because the FOM needs access to the site to start training their team, but the construction crew just wants to finish their job. The FOM has to be a powerful advocate here, pushing for that access and providing invaluable operational feedback on the physical space itself.
And this is exactly what that advocacy looks like in practice. The FOM pushes to get early access to the site, maybe even to mock up rooms so they can start hands-on training. They're the ones walking through the lobby and saying, hey, this front desk is beautiful, but we're going to need more data ports here. Or this luggage room is never going to be big enough. This kind of practical feedback is priceless because it prevents incredibly expensive fixes down the line after the hotel is already open. Talk about a return on investment. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the front office manager's most critical skill isn't just management, it's translation. They are the bridge connecting these 3 completely different worlds, and they have to be able to speak everyone's language. And this is a perfect example of what I mean. Let's take a simple operational need. We need 4 par of key cards. That's 4 times the amount needed for a full hotel. Now, when the FOM talks to the owners,
They translate that need into financial terms. They'll say, this is for inventory control and planning our operational expenses. But when they talk to the project team, the translation is completely different. It's, hey, can you confirm the power and data specs for the key encoders? See that? Same need, totally different conversation. That's the art of translation.
And really, that's what it all comes down to. The front office manager has to be an articulate and persuasive communicator. It's what elevates the role from just a manager to a true leader. You're not just relaying messages, you're building trust, you're building consensus, and you're keeping this massive project moving forward. This is the kind of executive-level skill we focus on.
So, by mastering all these skills, managing stakeholders, being a proactive advocate, and acting as an expert translator, the front office manager does more than just survive the pre-opening crucible. They steer the entire project toward its ultimate goal,
Which is a flawless opening. That's why all of this matters. Every single one of these complex, behind-the-scenes tasks has one purpose: to make sure that when that very first guest walks through those doors, their experience is absolutely positively perfect. You only get one chance to make that first impression, and it sets the tone for everything that follows.
And that brings us to the end of this explainer. As you can see, the front office manager is so much more than just a manager. They're a diplomat, a financial planner, a translator, a leader. They're the linchpin. So let me leave you with this question. Are you ready to be the one who turns a construction site into an unforgettable 5-star experience?